Cadillac. Yes, I am Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping to see justice before all fades to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Now, y'all know my channel. Over here, we are all about justice. We are all about equality, and we are all about doing the right thing, right? So, y'all know my fight for justice, but I do know that a good majority of the population have their own fights for justice. And like I was saying, everybody has a story, and I believe that every story should be heard. And a lot of times, the only thing that kind of separates us from getting justice and, not getting justice is the story being heard. So today we do have this is going to be an interview. I'm going to mainly let my guest speak. And my guest is going to tell you something that he is going through. Like, it is very, like, it's a lot. So I'm going to hand it over to him. His name is Brandon Mayo. And we're going to interview with him so we can hear his story. Another way that we are being done unjustly. Also, in the description box below, I am going to link there was a story dealing that a few months ago about Mary and all the trials she was going through with her housing, because there's a lot of discrimination and injustice happening there. I'll put that in the description box below. You can catch that on the replay. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it with Brandon. So Brandon, can you tell us a little bit about your story? I'm going to mainly just let you take over and you just tell us whatever you need to get out about your story.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Well, where should I start? So for those who don't know me, yes, Cadillac introduced me as Brandon Mayo, which is me. Also, I am disabled. That's gonna come up in this video a couple times because it's the discrimination of a disability.
I'm
And
sorry, Brandon. Can I
yes,
have you speak just a tad bit louder?
let me come a tad bit closer. Maybe. Okay, so can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if y'all didn't hear what I was saying prior to me moving a little closer to the camera, I am disabled, which is going to come up in this video a few times just because the disability that I do have, it kind of plays a big factor in all of this. So let's get started. So back in October of 2022,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let
yes,
me let them know the reason that y'all are all in my grill is because this is an ongoing matter right now. So
correct. Yes, guys. So I wish I could kind of show y'all who I am so I could feel a little more personal with y'all, but it's legal proceedings. But
that
yeah.
part.
So back in October 2022, to a medical treatment. I will not disclose where I was headed to, but long story short, my driver did slam into the back of a vehicle, which at that time, the driver did proceed to get out the car and state that they did run into somebody at that moment. So, me being disabled at the time, you guys, I am vision impaired. So, I'm fully blind, if that makes any sense. But pay attention to that because that's going to come back up. So, when they got back in the car, I did inform the driver, like, hey, a situation, when the situation happened that I was hurt. But I did not inform them that I was going to the hospital at that time.
Okay.
So they didn't know about anything about me going to the hospital to the very next day. Y'all stick a thumbtack there because that part will come back up. So they didn't know I went to the hospital the next day. So when I initially reached out, I only reached out to say, hey, I need, assistance with my medical bills, the medical bills that are going to come because you guys don't know, but I've been building my credit for the last couple of years, and maybe I was not gonna let that bring me down. Okay, so I was like, I need assistance paying that because it wasn't my fault, so I shouldn't be paying a medical bill. So upon sending that, I called the company. They was like, oh well, the manager's not here. You need to wait till tomorrow, which was a Sunday. to reach out to the management and they'll get back. I mean, not Sunday, sorry, Monday, and they'll get back to you or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. Now, mind you, they told me the manager didn't come back till that Monday, but that Sunday I received the message. Because at the time, like I said, when I called them Saturday, they were pretty much giving me a finger to the face, like, you know, F you, whatever. We got pictures. There was no accident, blah, blah, blah. So at that point, that
They have
Sunday,
pictures.
they had pictures. They told me they had pictures and it was no damage done to the car. So I was like, okay, but it was damage done to me. So let's keep moving. So I left it there. Now, mind you, that worker did inform me that the manager didn't come back till Monday. So that Sunday, I did receive a message. For the sake of this, we just gonna say the driver name is um
Ahmad.
we're gonna go with Ahmad. Let's just say Ahmad. So I did reach out. The manager reached out to me and they was like, hey, I'm reaching out when about the situation for the hospital bills when Ahmad stepped on the brake. And when Ahmad slammed on brakes. And I was like, slammed on brakes. At that moment, because I'm not incompetent, I knew what was going on. That they were trying to say that it was never an accident that took place, blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay,
Okay,
at this
but
point,
slamming on brakes could still
potentially cause
cause
problems.
damage to a
Correct.
human body.
Right. So just for to paint you guys a picture, when Ahmad slammed on the brakes, my seatbelt was on. But when he slammed on the brakes, running into, he did slam on the brakes, but that was after he had to run into that car. So the seatbelt caught me. I flew forward, but the seatbelt caught me around my shoulder blade, which oh, you know what? I'm going too far, so we're gonna get to that. But the seatbelt caught me. Just to paint that picture, that seatbelt caught me from the force of the impact. So at that point, I did reach back out to the manager of the company. I said, "Hey, you know, I was trying to get it situated, but they wasn't trying to situate it with me. So I was just like, you know, at this point, I had already contacted a lawyer because I knew that where this was headed to, and I know I was gonna be able to do it on my own.
Well, so I've had a lot of whew, I've had experience with that. A couple of times. But these big companies, and even a company period, even if it isn't a big company, companies have their own legal teams and stuff like that. And even back in the day, my mother had an accident with which kind of messed her neck up for the rest of her, life, where a truck was backing over her and got all the way up to her dashboard, her windshield, cracked the windshield, but it didn't quite collapse the car. He was just backing over my mother's car. And at the time I was a child and I'm grabbing up on her neck and stuff and trying, because we're scared because it's a truck backing over the car. The driver immediately gets out and says, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. I am so sorry. This is all my fault. This is all my fault. I was trying to back up to let a car pass by." That was his story that day. Once it hit to being where she had to sue them, his story changed. It changed and completely became, she ran up under my car. And it literally, it is not about right or wrong. Like I tell y'all, the justice system, society, none of it is about right or wrong. It's about who has the more resources.
Right.
So though this is not about, my usual topic, it still pertains to it. And those companies have resources. So now as we're listening to Brandon's story, it's a human, one person going up against a company.
Company. But
And it's,
okay, so at that point when I did reach out, I want to bring light to something because they were trying to say as if the narrative, he's blind, he won't know. But what they didn't know is I was
they
actually,
said that?
we gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
So
Because that's something else if they said
so
that.
I was actually on the phone at the time with one of my cousins when I got in an accident, and the first thing I was like, oh shoot, we just got in an accident. And they was like, what you mean y'all just got in an accident? I'm like, we just got in an accident. So I hung up with her and I immediately called my fiance at the time. And I was freaking out because I didn't know what was going on. I called my mom, I called my, I
And
couldn't
to
get in
be in an
touch.
accident and can't see what's happening, that's scary in itself. Cause all
Right.
you don't know what you
But
about to
see, that's
hit
what
or
they were
uh
trying to use that.
yeah, but you
They
know
were
an accident happening
right.
though.
But that's what they was trying to that narrative. They was trying to paint that narrative that he won't really know if you hit somebody. I mean, clearly I flew freaking forward, so I
But
know
you could feel the
I
impact
can
and
feel
all
it. And
that.
I also drove, for years prior to me losing my sight, which they assumed that I was blind my whole life. Didn't know that I had a driver's license at one point. So after that whole incident happened, you know, I contacted my lawyer and I immediately we went over. Long story short, I'm only gonna give y'all the things that actually pertain to the story of how they were trying to get over. So immediately, they was at my lawyer asked me questions, what type of car I was in, and I was like, I was in a full size car.
Okay.
I was definitely in a full size car because one thing when you're the school I went to, it teaches you distance.
Okay.
So it teaches you your surroundings, distance, the perimeter, everything with. So I know how far I am, what type of car I'm in, and how far I'm in from that next door over. Because number one, a smaller car. One of my family members have a smaller car, so I know when I'm in that car, I'm crouched. Like I don't have distance. That's one thing I know. What a blind person knows is distance and width. So
Okay.
that plays a part in this. So remember that right there when I said it was a full size car because the car was bigger.
And now I'm wondering this. So were you was this just a joyride or what did you say you were
I was on my way to a medical treatment.
okay, so was it a friend taking you or
No,
it was a
it was
company you said?
yeah, it was a transportation company.
So now when you call them, don't they give you the description of the car that's coming to pick you up?
So you normally don't know, but see,
Oh,
here is
okay.
where my smarts and my wits kick in. Because one thing about me, I'm very particular and I have anxiety and I don't trust a lot of people. So this is where how I know that Ahmad was driving. So let me just give you a little backstory on Ahmad. Ahmad had picked me up prior to the accident. He picked me up
And
a
are
couple of
these
times.
I'm so sorry. Are these company vehicles or is the person's
Personal vehicle.
personal vehicle that they're using
Ye-
to do the job or the
Yeah, it's
service?
their
Okay,
vehicle, their
okay.
own vehicle.
All right. So this
So Ahmad picked me up multiple times, but what they didn't know, but is that I had Ahmad's personal number
okay.
because me and Ahmad had ended up communicating, like not on that level of like anything like that, but building a bond, like a friendship almost. And
Okay.
so I personally requested Ahmad for transportation because he picked me up before. He had delivered excellent service. We were communicating. We were able to communicate. We were able to talk. It was a nice experience. So he's not a nasty person. I will say that he was a very nice person, which made me actually request him personally.
Okay.
So, which is when the day that it happened, when the mom picked me up, he had my personal number. He texted me and told me he was outside, which is how I knew the driver. Now that is gonna come back up as well, but I
And
had to
the
give y'all
last
that story.
time he picked you up, he had the same type of
The
vehicle?
same car,
Okay. This
right?
okay.
So, and I knew this car was a nicer vehicle. It was a nicer vehicle. It was, if you could tell by the texture of the things like that, this car was actually a nice car. So, and remember when I said with you guys, so I trailed my distance. So when that particular day, I was going to get on the driver's side, but he had something in the driver's side back seat, if that makes sense. He had something on that side, but I was already headed to that side. So I walked around the car and I trailed the trunk which also how I knew that this
So
was a
you
full-size
were in
vehicle.
the back seat or
Yes,
you were in the front passenger
the
seat?
back seat.
Okay, the back seat of the vehicle.
So
On the right behind him.
no, that day I was going to get behind him, but he had
You were
something.
on
I
the
normally get in that side, but he
okay,
had something
diagonal to
there.
him in the back seat. Okay, I'm just
Yeah,
trying to picture
he
it.
had something behind him that
Okay.
day. I forgot what it was, but it was a bag or something. So,
Okay.
which made me go around the trunk and come and enter the opposite side, the passenger back side.
Mhm.
So that's how I knew that I was in a full size car because
All
that
right.
trunk was big as hell. It was a big old truck. So I knew that this wasn't something that was small. So after that, the lawyer was able to obtain a report from the I guess the accident in question. But in the report, it stated that this car was a Ford Fiesta. Gotta change it.
That's
No, I just gotta change it. You know, it was a
no,
Ford
I
Fiesta.
had one of those. Well,
Right,
for one
but
day I had one of those. That's a
you
small
guys, for the
vehicle.
sake of the situation, I do have to change it. But let's just say it was a Ford Fiesta. It was in the mindset of a Ford Fiesta.
Okay,
That was
which
the
is a
size. It
very
was
small vehicle.
yes. It was a
Okay.
compact intermediate car. It was a little car. That's a little car. That was the car that was on the report. It was a car that wasn't um, sizable to what I had imagined in my head, pretty much. So it was a different car and a different driver listed in a different location altogether. So
Oh, they changed the location as
that yeah,
well.
the location was changed as well. So once we got to our
And that this is what I want to pinpoint because that looks relevant to my case that I fight for and my husband. Why do you need to do that? Changing things and why would you do that if you're telling the truth? If justice
right,
is being served and this is definitely what happened, I have this saying, truth needs no manipulation. You don't need to manipulate
but
the truth.
remember, their narrative was trying to say it never happened. I was never in the
But
car.
then that would reveal that that couldn't be the truth if you're trying to manipulate things. That's what I'm
Correct.
saying.
So, but when we got to our mediation, so this is where it all goes to crap, right? So we get to mediation. So I'm gonna wrap it up towards the mediation. So remember everything, y'all. I told y'all to put a thumbtack in. It's gonna come up now.
Okay.
So when we hit mediation, they said it was a Ford Fiesta, but produced pictures of a Chevy Impala. Of Chevy
But
Impala,
so the report says that so they
the
turned
report
in
says Ford Fiesta, but the pictures that their side presented was of a Chevy Impala,
which is
which matches up to what I'm saying about the
considered
full size car.
evidence is the picture.
Right.
So why would they put in conflicting?
Because they side didn't know that that was a police report file.
Okay.
So the
But they
pictures,
they filed the police report.
the lawyer didn't file. Their lawyers only showed up in court, not them. So their lawyers had no acknowledgement. So that's gonna come out. That's gonna come
Okay.
out.
So they went and filed a police report after this slam on brakes happened.
Right.
And they reported a different vehicle, a much
In a
smaller
different
vehicle.
driver.
Okay, and a different driver. But why would they never confer with the lawyer to say, "Hey, I filed a report and all that"?
I don't know.
So,
But here's the thing though. They didn't know that I kept the message that the manager sent me. It said, this is regarding when Ahmad slammed on brakes.
okay,
Right? So he had already admitted to the driver that was driving, but on the report it showed a different driver. They found a different driver, and this is why. So when the pictures of the car came
so
out,
when you lie, you got and it's hard to it's easy to get away with a lie because our system is unjust
right?
and corrupt and all of that. So it's easy to get away with a lie. But
But the
when
thing
you
is, they had
tell a
to
lie, you
prove
can't
that lie.
cover Well, I don't know. Our justice system, it just seemed like you just got to put a little
No,
type
I'm
of.
saying they had to prove the lie. So
Yeah, but then
when
you have to cover a lot of ducks to, because a lie has too many different holes in it.
right,
It just won't come together. And depending on who's analyzing it, everybody comes up with different holes that they find in it. Well, if this makes sense, then how did this happen? And then someone else might analyze it. Like, say, our viewers that's watching today, several people will get this this picture painted in their mind and come up with different holes. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So how could they, when you're lying, how could you cover all of those holes?
Oh, they were trying because they were like, but see, this is where they thought that blind when I because I was blind, this is where they messed up at. Soon because I was blind, that there was no way I can identify the car, right? But what I told them before the pictures even
But
was
that's where the
produced,
corruption. They shouldn't have never. What if this is a company? I'm sure they got insurance. Why not just say,
no, we gonna get there. We gonna get
okay,
there because you skipping
okay.
over it. So we gonna get there. So the thing was they they see where they messed up at. They assumed that I wouldn't know who drove me because I can't see the driver, can't identify him, or who car I was in. But see, when they produced those pictures of that Impala, that matches the description that I gave. With this is a full size car. This was definitely a bigger car than a Ford Fiesta. This was not a Ford Fiesta. But before I even knew about the police report, before I knew about the pictures they had, I had already identified and said I was in a full size car. So how would I have known that before I knew anything about a report or the evidence that they had? I didn't know what evidence they had. So when it comes to the driver, here is why they switched the driver. So after doing reviews on the mod, I mean research on the mod, it comes to find out that his license was suspended. And the reason they switched the driver is
And
because
the company knew of
the
this
company knew of it. They
and
had to.
allowed him to keep.
Yes.
Okay,
And the
wow.
reason they switched him out with another driver is because they was trying to sue that driver for PIP and state that the company had no insurance, which is what they were going to go for. But guess who figured that out? Ding, ding, ding. I did. Because I made friends with other people who own their own transportation company. You have for medical transportation, you have to carry a minimum of a $300,000 policy. So the reason they switched the driver and used his insurance, which they were trying to go through PIP, was because they were saying they didn't have insurance on the company. So I couldn't sue the company.
Oh, so that you can just get the driver and not the
Get the
assets. Okay,
correct.
okay.
So when all that came out, we hit them hard. So they started trying to grill me and was like, well, they was like, see, a lot of they don't know I went to massage therapy. Like I went to school for massage therapy. So what they were trying to do was catch me up, and they was like, oh well, why didn't I go to this doctor instead of that doctor? And I was like, well, to be honest, the follow up instructions when I went to the hospital. So let me take it back. So when I went to the hospital, the follow up instructions said to follow up with OP doctor versus a CR doctor.
Now I went to the emergency room for an accident. It was a slip and fall. It wasn't a car accident. But I can tell you that the emergency room don't know a lot about
They really don't.
accidents,
They really don't.
and they are guesstimating on what your next steps are. They'll tend to do X-rays, and it's not even something that can be found on an X-ray because you may not have broken bones, but it's a lot of damage that can
That
be
can be
done
done.
to
Yeah.
them tissues and stuff, and that's not found on an X-ray.
But see, that's
So
what he was. That's what they were
they
trying
don't
to say too.
always know exactly what your next steps are to do.
But he was telling me. He said, "Well, why you didn't follow up like the hospital told you to?" I'm like, "Well, the hospital never told me that." I said, "You got to remember, I am blind." Well, who took you? Who took you to the hospital? And I was like, my fiance at the time. It was like, and you didn't think to get her? That's what they said, to get her to read it. I said him, and I was like, no, because at that point you assume I can't do something. You're taking away my individuality. You stripping me of my humanity when you telling me that I need to get somebody else to read something for me. And I said, I my insurance pays the doctor who should have read those instructions out to me. And if he didn't want to violate HIPAA, he should have asked my fiance at the time to step away or ask me, is it okay to read out my follow up instructions? So the hospital dropped the ball on that because that's what they get paid to do. They were like, oh, well, okay, we can't argue with you there. Yeah. So then he was like, well, we're just trying to see how can a seatbelt um, sustain 3 injuries. Oh, you want to know that? So let's play it. Let's break this down. Everybody knows the seatbelt, and I'm gonna use the medical terms. Everybody knows the seatbelt goes over the
Hold
clavicle.
on 1 second. So he hit a vehicle. What happened to the other driver? They just
Oh,
let them go?
so the other I'm gonna come back to that
Okay.
because that comes up too. So they was like, well, how did he sustain 3 injuries in his neck, shoulder, and upper back with just a seatbelt? I'm like, okay, if you so let's do this. The seatbelt goes over your shoulder, correct? Which is also called your clavicle. Now, when that clavicle is connected to your rotator cuff, which is your shoulder, your rotator cuff and your ball joint in your shoulder, which is also connected to your neck. That is one area. All that is connected. So if you injure the clavicle, you actually injure your muscles, strain your neck muscles and your shoulder.
Well,
And they was
I
like,
know all that because of my injuries in my
right.
neck.
So he didn't think
All of
I
the
knew this
tight
stuff.
pulling, I feel all through my chest. I feel it down in my shoulder blades and yeah, that
Right.
whole area.
But he didn't think I knew all this. So when he was
But
like,
those are like big, large, huge, just muscle plates.
yeah,
It's kind of all
your shoulder
connected.
blade, all that is
Yeah.
connected. So he was like, what? I'm like, yeah. See, the thing is, you went into this assuming that I don't know if you thought because I was African American, I was a young African American who probably just didn't know anything, or money is just the motive here. But no, he really was shocked because he didn't expect me to know and say the things that I was saying.
Well, even
So
if money's the motive, let me, because I've dealt with this stuff. The bills, number one, have to be paid because when you're seeking care, that's a lot of money. And there's no price that could be put on your health
health,
and your
correct.
body moving in a functioning fashion. So even if it were about the money, it really ain't enough money that you could give me that you've taken a bodily function of me,
Of
of
mine,
mine,
correct.
and you can give me to replace that. So even if it was about the money, I wouldn't, I don't know.
But see, here's where the other driver comes in play. Because at the time, nobody called the police. Nobody called the police. They only exchanged insurance information.
Okay.
So they was like, well, if it was an accident, why didn't the other driver call the police? Because they only exchanged
I thought they
insurance.
didn't have insurance. How they go and exchange insurance
Correct. That's
information?
he must have gave her somebody else insurance because he didn't have insurance because his license was suspended.
Okay.
So he must have gave whoever that car belongs
And
to
when she went to try to
and
file it,
give
it
it
wouldn't.
correct.
It wasn't nowhere. So she had to pay. Oh God, do they have that driver's
Nope,
info?
they don't have
So
her.
she done had to pay for, and that messed her up.
That messed her up. Correct. So he was like at that time
Wow.
when it all came out, you know, the whole thing is they were trying to paint a narrative like I didn't like, oh, it was never an accident. And kind of find out, even if you investigate the police report, they had me listed as a female, wrong name, wrong everything. But I was in. They had me listed in the car, but of course the police could not do any investigation because the name they gave them was false, and also it was a female. So they're looking for a female by the last name of Mayo, not a male. So of course I wasn't gonna come up in their system because they had no record of that. That was a falsified person. So in the event of them lying, instead of just saying, okay, let's rectify the situation, they done committed fraud, they done committed
Then
insurance
this might cost them
perjury.
more than just
Like
paying for
it's gonna
letting
cost
the
them way
insurance.
more.
Letting the
Like,
insurance just pay for the accident because
right.
accidents happen. But the older insurance wouldn't have
They
paid
not gonna
for
pay
it
because the
because of the
driver
driver. So this would
license
have
was
been
suspended.
okay. So they just would have been.
So
But
in order
you
for
should.
them
They
to
should have
pay
just
it,
took that then to you know because you could recover from that. But
right?
now you got all this other stuff.
You
So
got all this,
one lie just leads to another. You just
yeah,
digging your hole
and it's a
deeper.
bigger lie.
Wow.
So
And now we got to cover a bigger lie.
yeah. So
Okay.
now we at the point where
I'm sorry, y'all. My carpal tunnel. That's why I just keep moving
they don't
around.
wanna pay the medical bills and things like that, and because I actually did get hurt, like my shoulder and all of that. That actually do
Yeah,
hurt.
most companies try to refute that. They don't want to pay anything.
So, but it's just the whole thing of they assume that because the disability I have, that they could take advantage of the situation, and when they seen that I was answering everything and I was breaking everything down, they had to go on recess because they didn't even know what to do or what to say. They was stumped. They was like, we got to reconvene and reschedule because they didn't even know what to do
Oh,
at this
so now
point.
that's different. So you got your chance to talk. So now, if it was like, say, at a trial, because this is before a trial
But
even
now
happened.
they
This
saying
is
we
where
got to
you
go to
trying
trial.
to settle it or whatever.
Right. That we're trying to settle it.
Okay, so and you get to fully speak up and say what you need to say and stuff.
Yeah.
It might have been easier at a trial where you just sit up and let the they present everything and then you let
But the
the
thing is that y'all
jury.
they want me to go on trial and speak. See, I can't tell y'all the full, so I have to talk over certain things. But they don't want me to get up there because, baby, like I'm just gonna tell the truth. Like I'm hurt, and and they was like, and then they were trying to say my insurance. A big thing with insurance too. They even tried to commit insurance fraud on us, like with my husband, because they were saying his insurance came up with a totally different car. I'm like, nah, baby, this ain't some ain't right. Like,
Okay.
how did his insurance even get? He was nowhere near the accident, so his insurance shouldn't even be a factor in this matter because he was not there. So whether his insurance, they was like, well, we trying to figure out how his insurance policy come up with a totally different company. I'm like, no, I know they ain't trying to hit insurance fraud on us. Like, it's crazy. It's a
Well,
big
legal
thing.
system is kind of a tit for tat. You go low ball, you whatever. And all in the end, if it got to a trial, the only thing you have to do is make that jury believe it.
Oh yeah, of course,
And that's about
of
it.
course. Because how would I have known? They ain't got no other choice but to believe it. Because how would I have known
But
the
now,
stuff that
see,
I know?
juries, the one thing I know, a lot of times not everything is disclosed to the jury. So they may not know all aspects of everything. And then also you think about jury duty, how most people feel when they get them little summons in the mail. They like, dang, I don't feel like going. How
Yeah.
can I get out of this? So I don't know if they you know, I don't know, but yeah, we need to worry about it because it could literally be any of us. I know a lot of people think, oh, why do I need to care about the justice system? I'm not doing anything wrong. But the whole system is kind of connected. Everyone thinks that the criminal justice system is separate, but they're doing the same types of
They doing
corruptions
the same type of
in the
corruption.
regular
But you know what's also being
system.
corrupted, y'all? And I'm gonna change the topic for just 1 second. Um, it's the corruption. It's the corruption in the households, y'all. We have to make a change. I get it. I don't. Fortunately, I don't have no kids. I do have a son, a stepson. Sorry, let me correct that. Because my husband does have a son, but at the same time, y'all, we have to change this narrative that all African American fathers is just horrible, and they're not trying to be there for their kids. Black women I'm specifically talking to you. I'm not talking to no other race because I'm no other race and I can't speak for them. I can only speak for my color. Stop making these men fight for their children. Just stop. All of that, taking them through hoops and a million rings just to see their kids. Stop making them do that, because then you can't claim the single mother trait when you're forcing your hand to be a single mother. Because at the same time, it's like if they want to be there, let them be there. People make mistakes. Guys make mistakes. Women make mistakes. We all have made mistakes. But stop punishing the child, because what you're doing, you're not punishing the father or the mother, whoever. You're punishing the child. You taking that child through something that he doesn't need to be, and we need to stop putting a price on a child. Stop. Oh, I don't want you to see your child. I don't want you to get more time with him. It's gonna affect my child support. So what? Get off your lazy ass, or get off your ass and get a job
That
and help
I
take
don't
it.
know nothing about family courts and all that.
But
That's
if
the one
well,
part of my
no, I'm
my
just well,
justice system.
yeah.
Okay, so if they see them, then they don't. Okay, I don't understand that. You said it affects the child support. Okay, so if the child is not seeing the
So
other
they feel
parent,
if the father gets more time with the child, and vice
it's
versa,
the less you pay.
the no. So if you get more time with your child, the less you pay, or you can potentially get off of child support. But people don't they oh, it's the support of the child. I get it, but if he's spending more time with that child, why is he still paying a large amount of that? That's called unfair, unruly, and unjust. We have
Okay,
to
spending time, and then also besides time, I would say the care of the child,
take care of the
the
child,
the
correct.
taking care, the feeding, the if it's daycare, if it's buying clothes, if it's any of those
But you got
things.
some mothers and fathers, because fathers get child support too. You got some mothers and fathers out there that they So yeah, at some point, fathers and mothers, both of them get support payments at some point or another. But when they get that, they get stuck in that support payment. Okay, well, we don't want you to spend more. It's okay to get the child
But
support
the support is for the
for the
child, not
child.
for the
Correct.
parent.
But they
I mean,
get
it
stuck
it
in
kind of
that.
puts a burden on the parent when you don't get it, but the support is always to go to the child itself.
But in the event that if you don't get it and the father is being there, or the
Yeah,
mother
then
is
that's
being
taking
there,
up the
then
slack.
that's
Yeah.
taking that support. They shouldn't be on support. It pays my rent. You gotta
That's
get off
from
your
the
ass
that's
and,
from the
and pay your rent.
mentality of the parent thinking that that money is actually for themselves and it's not
Correct.
for
And
them.
it's not for them, but that's the society that we live in. It's a destruction of the African American male youth. Because I come from a product of being a child with no father. I would have wanted my father versus money, even though
Yeah.
that nigga ain't pay neither. Can't say that word. But even though I didn't get neither, but I would have wanted a father versus money. If that was the case on child support, I would have wanted my dad
And
versus having
it kind of
money.
comes full circle because the more that you have the parents in the child's lives and in their, with them, even if I guess the best possibility would be having them in the same home. But if you can't have that, if the child can have relationship with both parents and both parents are doing their mutual parts, that also aids in our society not having a lot of the crime. Because if you go back to, y'all know I'm crime specialist, all I listen to is these different stories and stuff. And a lot of people, the first thing that they say is, I grew up in a
In the
single
family
mother,
household.
yep,
Correct.
or my it was a single parent home and my mother was on substances or she was never there, and it always starts out that like that majority of the time. Most of these stories don't start out with I grew up in a healthy household with both parents.
Right. But you know what? But some, I can't say all,
Yeah, that's
but
never all, but
the
most.
situation that Brandon Mayo is in is we're dealing with someone who puts a price on the child. We're not dealing with somebody just saying, okay, you can spend time with your child. You don't have to fight to see your child. But we're dealing with somebody who's saying if you spend more time with your child, it's gonna affect my payment. Like,
That's oh
and
wow.
that's the sad part about it, is because it's like that's that's 85% of women and men today is the child. Whether it's child up, selling your child for income tax, or getting welfare, getting food stamps, getting this, getting that from the government. And it's sad that we do have to live in that
Oh, that
society.
let me tell you that a lot of that system was set up to break up the family, and they even got a lot of research on that. That
Right,
back in the
but in
70s,
general, that's how
yeah,
we that's how
60s
we
and stuff, that was meant to break up our families.
yeah, but because it's money, it's
Yeah.
monetary. Money is the root of problem. If you look at half the crime today, money was the motive. It's always money. Money is the motive because that's what we taught. We need money to survive. We need money to
Yeah.
live. We need money
And
to
then when
do
you take
anything.
away the resources in certain communities, because any community would do it, but if you target certain communities and take away those resources, you're going to find more crime in
You're
those
gonna because they gotta
communities,
find a way to
because
eat,
you gotta, I mean, you're going to find a way to eat.
and that's the
But
sad
now some
part.
people take it to the detriment. They don't, it starts as finding a way to eat, but then it leads into just doing it just to do it, you know. But that was the root of it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's sad. It's
Yeah.
really sad. And then you got the people that say, "Well, you're not a parent, so you don't really understand what it is." And I'm like, I don't have to understand parenting to understand logic and reasoning, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, um, you don't know, what's going on." But how do you think a judge, a lawyer, or a cop win cases? They wasn't there. They listen to logic and reason, even though it's corrupt as
Well,
hell.
they have to listen to
But
both sides and make the
the better
level-headed decision.
decision,
It's supposed to be
correct.
impartial.
It's not
It's
supposed to
not
be
supposed to,
biased.
yeah, it's not supposed to lean to any side or the
But
other.
what I see is somebody complaining, "Oh, I'm a single mother. I'm a single mother. It's hard, and I need more help." But when he tries to help you more, you dictate the help. You don't want the help that he can offer you. You want the help your way. You want it to be done your way, or it's no way. And when it's not your way, it's, oh, you can't see your son for 5 to 6 months at a time.
No, the only way I
But you
would
still
take
want
a
the child
child
support.
from the father is if the father was not, like, he was into different stuff, or he was beating on somebody and on the
But you know what?
child,
But the
or
thing is,
was
the
not,
problem that we
was,
do have,
if he wasn't good, you know what I'm saying, if he
yeah, a
wasn't a
good
good
dad, pretty much.
father,
But the
then,
problem
but
that
other than
women
that.
have nowadays in society, it ain't even the fact I'm taking you away because you a bad father. It's I'm taking you away because
But
me
then
and you
that
can't be together.
the court has to decide whether he's the bad father or not. You can't
But
really
and that's the
just
thing
decide
that we
that.
need to fight for in the state of Florida, is because the courts is gonna decide with the mother. No matter, Florida is a mother state. Is a judgment of mother. So even if the
So they
father,
don't look at the mother's background, and
no, the father
either,
can
even
make,
if the mother's like not that good and
well,
she's.
the mother in the state of Florida, the mother can make multiple mistakes and they're still willing to give the child back to the mother, or still willing to side with the mother. The father makes
So
one
that's
mistake.
also when the child is being abused or something. They
Well,
still
in that
just.
in that case,
Oh, that's something
I don't think
different.
that might be
Okay.
something different. But when the father makes one mistake, if the mother walk away, let's say for example, if the mother walk away from her child, give up all her rights, and the father got it, the mother can keep coming back, and the
Oh.
state would still agree. The father do it once, they on child support, they get nailed to the cross, which brings me to a point that I am trying to get a bill or petition started, that it needs to be something in place for fathers, like something in place that, okay, hey, you know Just like the mother can make a mistake and she can come back. The father make a mistake, it's all hell breaks loose. You know, to protect the father, because some fathers are really out here trying to be a father, but unfortunately, like the
That's the
situation,
stereotype of the black man not being a father.
right,
And that I do not agree with. I know it's a stereotype for a reason, people say. But I have a great black father. I have
right.
several men in my life, cousins, great black men that have children and may not have children, but they holding jobs. They doing this, they doing these are great black men. So when you tell me that all these black men are doing is this, and this, I'm like, but how? So then, why all these people in my family and even black men that I work with or that are acquaintances? Why am I not seeing them as these horrible black men that we're being portrayed that all
Because
black men
it's
are?
society, it's the society, it's the media that
Yeah,
has
media
put
has a
us.
lot to do with
It
it.
put us in this category that when I walk into the store, I'm automatically a target.
Yeah,
I automatically got a a target on my head. When my
and
husband walk into the
it
store,
affects all parts of your life, not
right,
just some parts.
it comes to a thing that people look at us like. So if you look at me and look at my husband, he has dread. So people automatically target him as a thug, like, oh, he's a thug. But you would look at me and be like, okay, well, I have a low cut, so I'm less of a threat, no doubt, but I'm less of a
Oh,
threat
they do
than,
that with skin tone too. Light
yeah.
skinned black people, dark
They
skin versus
assume,
dark skinned black people, and because there's racism within our race too.
yeah, and people don't believe that.
Yeah.
It's prejudice is everywhere because, oh, point in reference, my husband's baby mama made a point where she tried to say, how can I discriminate against homosexuality when I've dated in that community myself? You can date in the community and also still do not like gay people. That is what you call being prejudiced. So that narrative you trying to put, that she was trying to put out, oh well, I can't not dislike gay people because I was gay myself. That don't mean nothing, because I could say I dislike skinny people, but I was skinny myself at one point. I'm a little thick now, but I used to be skinny. But I can say skinny people is evil. But that don't mean that I hate skinny people. It's something that about your skinniness I don't like, or something about your fatness I don't like, or your gayness I don't like. You
I
know,
think
and I'm one of the people.
nature is just to divide and figure who is above and who is below. That's just how we as humans want to do. We
Yeah,
want to feel
we
as though
wanna, we as humans, not even African Americans, we as humans,
human
we
nature.
were
Yeah.
taught, we were actually taught to hate. We were never taught to love. People say, okay, well, you know, even in, I'm not getting biblical here because I don't know people's religion. I don't want to offend nobody, but we were taught to hate. Even in those days, we were never taught to love, because being taught to love is not passion judgment on somebody because of the skin tone or their sexuality or who they choose to fall in love with. If you're saying love is love, it shouldn't matter if you're dating white, black, gay, skinny, fat, ugly. Love is love. But we wasn't taught that. We were taught, okay, gay people is wrong, black people is wrong, white people are superior, Africans is wrong, being Haitian is not right. I know people that back in the day would be like, oh, we be like,
Oh,
you
back
stupid
then,
Haitian.
yeah, that
Like, and
back
it'll be
then
like,
it
that's a
was
culture. How
they
can
had
somebody be
it, yeah,
stupid?
they had it a disgrace when, and then you had a lot of Haitian communities scared to tell you they were Haitian,
They were,
but not
yeah,
now. They proud. You
yeah.
Asian? Yes, I'm Asian, which is good. Like now
But
they,
that is true. Like
yeah.
back, it was so corrupt. The world is so corrupt to the point where it's like we should be living here to live and be free, but we're living here to survive. People say, you know, gay people are a target. Yes, but so was a black person. So was a white person. So was a Haitian. It's
It's
somebody out
because
there
we're
that don't like
divided.
you just because they don't like you.
It's
They have
because we're
no reason
divided.
not to.
We're divided.
Yeah.
We've been told to, but divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. But the thing is, if us African Americans, just I'm speaking to us once again, us as African Americans, if we all stood
Oh, I
together,
hate hearing that because I already
if
know that ain't finna happen.
no, I'm
But
saying, but if we did, do you
it's
know
if we
how
hit the
much?
lottery.
How much? Look at the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
They were able to come back in the day. Black people were able to stand together because at that moment, black people was a target.
But what I can
So
say, they do whenever they see us coming together, they find a way
they
to
break
break
us
us
up
apart
because
because they
they
know
can't
that.
beat us
Yeah.
together. They can't beat us. We're
Yeah.
too strong. Our culture, our skin is too strong for them to try to attack. Attack something you
Resilient.
can't beat.
Yeah.
So even with the black parents, they were able to get WIC. They were able to get free lunch at school, free breakfast, just because they stood together. And that's where the society falls if we don't stand together anymore. We rather kill each other than kill what's attacking us. We rather fight each other than fight the enemy. And that's where this culture here alone is going to self destruct. We're going to self destruct because we don't stand for something. You don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We only stand when it's the white man attacking us.
That's what I
We
feel like
don't
when they
stand
out. I
when
say that when they only march when someone's outed. But there's a lot more stuff to march about before
yeah,
someone gets outed. Like for real. And
we
we
need to
we have
fight
the
together. We
power,
need to stand.
and it shouldn't take the media highlighting a story to get behind and to support somebody.
But that's the
But
word. So that's what we
that's
got to
how
live
we
with.
are.
It's just at this
It's
point,
a
it's
lot of
survival
people
mode.
that see the truth though, but it's a lot of it's more that don't and just kind of fall into,
I
you
think the
know,
innocence of humanity has been stripped, like from us, just us being like me, like
submersed in media and
we
all
we
that
we
and
so deep
society.
in our thought process of what we should be that we're not being what we should be. We so deep in
Well, we're
what
told
people
what to be. We're
told, yeah,
told
telling
that,
us
told
who
what
to
to
be,
wear,
what to do, what to
how to
eat, what
talk.
colors
And
to
then if
wear.
people talk like that, then you don't like those people. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I was told, I was told because I stand for I stand for right and wrong. I don't care what you is. I was never that person. But when I people don't like even with the whole gay thing, people don't like when I stand up. They're like, oh, you only standing up because you're gay. No, I was standing if even if I wasn't. I love who I love because that's if we going by the Bible, that's what the Bible said. We love our brothers and our sisters. So why are we destroying them because of their difference? We destroy them because of their difference. We bring them down because of their difference. I was ridiculed my whole life, being called all type of derogatory names. Even somebody just called me the N word, but they didn't know that I spoke Spanish. I understand it. I don't speak it fluently, but I can understand certain things. And I didn't even respond because what I won't do is give you that power over me. That word holds no weight to me because if I get offended by somebody calling me that, that means I'm giving you that power and you got control over me. My mind is free. Like you can call me as long as you don't put your hands on me, because then I'm gonna have to rock your world. But you can call me whatever you want to call me. But some people are not built like that. Some people take that and it really becomes personal. I would say the same thing: black, white, orange. I don't call me the N word whether you black or white because that word is the same strength. It makes no difference who's saying it. But that's what people really. Oh, if it comes from a white person, then it's bad. If it comes from a black person, it's bad. That word is the word. It's no different definition. But because we were taught to hate growing up, we were taught to hate white people because of what the oppression we went through. That word means
Well,
a
I can
different thing.
say for me, I wasn't taught to hate white people because I grew up around all white people.
Right. That's what I'm
All
saying.
white
But
people.
I'm saying
So I wasn't
society
taught
has
that.
taught us
And
to
I
try to hate white
blindly
people.
thought that I fit in. I was the only black girl, and I promise you, I thought I fit in. I thought I was the same. I don't know why I had different texture hair, but oh, we all human.
But
And
you
I
know what?
literally grew up like that.
I think
And
with us is different because grandma.
oh yeah,
Grandma is Caucasian and black, so it might hit different for us, because we can't pretty much just prejudice because we got a Caucasian in our blood. So
Yeah,
it
I
hit
never
different.
was, but what I did find out when I hit 18, I found out that people see me different.
They see us different,
I didn't
yeah.
know that part. I'm like, for real? I look like I had an Asian friend tell me that her family did not like black people.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm black? Like, I can't understand why you not a, why are you? She said, number one, you're not a threat. You're not like the others.
Right.
And then she
Correct.
said that you act like you're white. I'm like, act what? How do you act white? How do you act
But you
black?
know
I
what?
literally don't understand
I've been
that.
told like so when I'm speaking, like if I'm regular talking, somebody said I talk white.
I don't understand
And
what is
that
talking
pisses
white
me
and what is
off.
talking
I'm like, what
black.
does that mean? What does talk? Oh, why do you have to speak proper? I'm like, number one, it ain't that I speak proper, is I speak because that's the way I talk. I speak with like I got sense. I don't always speak proper, but I can formulate a sentence and I know how to communicate with I could just about blend in with anybody I'm around because I can adapt. But I said, what's talking white? So are you saying because if I spoke like, yo, bro, what's up? If I spoke like that, then
I
I'm
guess
speaking
that's
black.
talking black.
Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
black then. Like, but that talks like that sounds
But
like I'm
there's so
ignorant.
many black people that don't, I wouldn't say ignorant, it's just you are using your, maybe you using street phrases or this or that. But
If I
or
say I'm
it,
going across the street, that's acceptable.
but I don't know. It's just I don't
Yeah,
know.
people say that.
I don't get it.
Oh, you
What
talk
is
white. I'm
talking
like, what
white
the
and
what the hell is
talking
talking
black?
white?
But I do kind of change. Like y'all already know when I'm getting proper and we're really
And now
doing,
that's different.
we
You
really
take the
doing,
soul out your voice.
when
Like
we
that's
really
what's up.
doing something that is up. We doing an interview with one of them real proper interviews. Girl, that is my proper voice. Yes, we gonna hit that because you know the time and place to and what
To
setting
put
you're
it in,
in.
yeah.
Just
That's what
like
I'm saying. I could adapt to pretty much anybody.
in
Like
a
anybody
job
I'm around, I could
interview, I'm
adapt.
not gonna go in a job interview and be like, yeah, this, and no, I'm gonna come in the job interview. Yes, yes, sir, I can do this, and yes, I do
Right.
that, and
But I mean, I
but
wouldn't
I
say
wouldn't say I turned white to do the
so.
interview.
I think it's the tone of the voice. Like so, when I if I go in the interview, I would still be like, be like, hey, Mr. Man, I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. How you doing? We'll talk. Yes, sir. So I can actually do this. This is my qualifications. These are my skills. I've been in management for the past 10 years. I'm very fluent with inventory. But see, that's different. Now, if I do it like, yeah, so my name is like, I'm a, you know what But I'm like, my name is Brandon Mayo. I work here. I did this. I did that. Now that completely took the tone, like changed the whole complete tone out of my voice. But now that I can hear them say, okay, well, what happened to your
Well,
tone?
my voice is heavy for a woman. I'm a heavy woman voice. I mean, a heavy voiced woman. And so
No, my voice is not heavy voice.
I lighten my voice up a little bit so it's not so. But okay, I thank you so much for your time here,
No problem.
Mr. Mayo. So we're gonna get this interview out. You guys be sure to just stay in touch and everything justice over here, girl. And please care about the issues that are going on because today it could be me, but tomorrow it could be you. All right, guys. Here's your girl.